All right, we'll do a quick little sound check right here. I got to post something in the channel real quick here for Josh. Uh, Can't wait to see that one over there. All right, so all right, Keith, cool, Claire, awesome, great. So yes, this is the new music. Yeah, this is the music that's in the Parabolic Retracement class, the intro. Yes, it's in the beginning, but there's like a whole song to it versus like just 11 seconds or something of it. Yeah, I threw it up there. Just mixing it up, keeping you guys on your toes. You know how it is. All right. So let's see. Obviously, the tickets is already up. I'm not sure why everybody's into the tickets tonight. Remember, it's just one ticket. One ticket at a time. If you want to purchase multiples, you can do it multiple times. Uh, Cost pip chips to keep purchasing tickets. All right. So looking at day today. Interesting day. Definitely had some retracements. Definitely got some interesting data out there as well. Um, I guess we'll just start off right from the top then. As you guys can see, as far as the overall changes in the last 24 hours, not really a whole lot that's really kind of blowing you away right here. You can see Aussie dollar 37, dollar Swiss is obviously down. Both the pound pairs were kind of flat. There was some movement early, but not really tons. Again, euro more or less flat. Euro had, it had periods today where it kind of bounced a little bit, but really hasn't left an area where we were watching. It's pushing really hard, but it's unable to go lower at this point. So we'll see. I was expecting a little bit more of a bounce than we got today, but again, we'll cover that in a bit. Um, Dollar CAD up a little bit again, just a little bit dollar strength, but again, you can see dollar weakness, dollar strength, and then again dollar strength across here. So you know, it is what it is. Again, having 0.4% CPI, a little bit higher than forecast. Kind of interesting. Market's at an all-time high. Inflation is starting to go higher. I think that pretty much, puts a nail in the coffin as far as an additional um, rate cut this year. A lot of people would love it, but mm, I just don't think there's anything left to justify it. And now that inflation is starting to tick up, kind of like, And again, the reason why that would be good, no, not that inflation is great because nobody really likes inflation, but when inflation goes up, typically the way that they put a cap on that is increasing interest rates, which is considered good for the dollar or any of the currency pairs. So that's why you see that going in there. Um, yeah. So, and like I said, the pound data was interesting too. Again, you will see the euro pound was down slightly. Again, it actually retraced a bit today, but again, that was good. The fact that they had less inflation than forecast, which means again they can hold their interest rates where they are. There's really no, technically, if they wanted to lower them, they could. But as of right now, they don't necessarily need to. The inflation is actually kind of holding steady, going down a little bit. Again, with the rates where they currently are right now. So they're definitely not a raising interest rate situation, but it's okay on the downside. Had Ernest ticket -1. Nice. Um, can I get my chips already? I'm gonna send them in a big box to you, Ernest. Ernest, quit begging. They ran out. You cornered the entire market on pip chips. Yeah, you guys notice I had to put that in the Instagram post today, right? That, the real reason to show up is not for the trades and the trade setups, because, that's just like secondary, right? It's for the real reason is for the pip chips. Yeah. So again, we have some Chinese data here that's about to come out. It should have came out by now. There you go. So industrial production in China is down. Again, that'll be a big thing that Trump will, I'm sure, will mention about the trade war, which, obviously has been going back and forth. It's pretty funny. Again, unemployment rate, again, it ticked up. We expected that one to be a bit bad. Again, I didn't actually think, I thought the employment change number would be bad. I thought the unemployment rate would come in, but again, with it ticking back up to 5.3, and if you guys remember, I mentioned that I wouldn't be surprised if there was an adjustment made to the previous, but the previous held and it raised here. So we'll see. Obviously, not great for the Australian pair. Okay, but it did give an interesting trade setup, and I'm sure some of you guys were able to grab it. Again, kind of a continuation pattern to the downside, coinciding with was demand is supply, vice versa, back and forth. Okay. I think Frito-Lays are making Pip Chips now. They do. They make those like extra spicy lime ones. So I actually, funny story about that actually. I actually volunteered at my kid's school the other day, and one of the kids that was in there, like for his snack, he had a bag of those things. And he's like, I bet you can't eat one. I'm like, eat what? He's like, they were like spicy chili lime, like Dorito rolls or something like that. It wasn't bad, but I was surprised that like, a kid in fourth grade was eating it. I thought it was pretty funny. I don't think I would. I mean, I can eat it now, but I don't think I could have eaten that as a kid. And he was just like, whoa. I mean, his hands were like totally red too. It was so funny. I was like, yeah, you're not going to be able to do anything productive for the whole rest of the afternoon. I'm like, hope your teachers are having fun with that one. Look at that. I called Josh out on Discord, and look at that. He's back in again. His poor daughter. He probably grounded her for like 2 weeks. You didn't put the S on there. I'm going to miss out on Pip Chips. Ernest is going to take more. Yeah. And remember, you guys are supposed to be hitting on, you guys are supposed to be tagging Q and stuff. I've seen him in the chat, but he hasn't made chart school, so you guys need to make sure you call him out on that one. With that being said, I actually had a conversation with a generous fellow today, and I think we're gonna have a special guest next Tuesday night to help us with oil analysis. I can do it at an upper, an upper kind of view level, which is totally fine. But we have someone that is actually more or less considered like a specialist in oil and gold, and I think I have them talked into joining the stream and doing a breakdown of oil, gold, and the indices real quick for us next week. So yeah, it would be kind of cool if we can get select individual out there with us. So I'm going to try to set it up this weekend and make sure that it works. And if it does, I thought it'd be a really cool addition for you guys. I'm trying to give you guys, we're getting close to Christmas here, so I'm trying to give you guys as many treats as possible. Hopefully I will get Eva back in again sometime soon as well. Give you guys a little bit more analysis. Yeah, he works a lot of nights. James, stop making excuses for him. He works a lot of nights. James, it could be said that you too work a lot of nights because you don't sleep and you trade the London Open. Yes, my friend? Yes or yes? I already published my Christmas list, Brian. Some of Ernest Pip Chips. Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, poor Ernest. Ernest is like, everybody has their eye on his Pip Chips. That's why I said, like, God forbid we ever did like an exchange program. Like the number one most requested thing is going to be Ernest's Pip Chips. Everybody who listens to this station is like, what the heck is a Pip Chip and why are they talking about it? They're addicted to these chip things. Where are they and can I get them? Right? All right, so let's go into tomorrow. So tomorrow early we have German preliminary GDP. Okay. Again, we don't often see Euro data, but German GDP is a big thing. It's expected to be down, meaning that their country is contracting. So that's kind of a big deal. And again, we've been talking about having pound strength. That would be some big euro weakness, and that would send the euro pound currency pair even further to the downside. Followed up by, oh, excuse me. Oh, sorry. Oh, why I keep going tonight? My God. It was all that pasta I had for dinner. Maybe because I had pasta for lunch too. I was totally not keto today. Followed at 4:30, we have retail sales. So that's always a good number to trade as well. And it's already forecast to be good. So hopefully it comes in a little bit more positive. I'd love to see that euro pound just drop to the floor. Then we have PPI at 8:30, which again, another potential high news impact release. And then we have Powell testifying again. I don't know that too much will hinge upon what he has to say. I don't know. We'll see tomorrow. I think that he had his time today. Maybe he says something, but with where we are with everything, I don't expect too much. And then we have oil. And once again, oil is forecasting low. Okay. I don't know what it is. I don't know if there's a law that says at this time of year that they cannot forecast above 1.5 or 2 million. But like obviously the supply has been just 10 times as high, right? So I have no idea why they just keep forecasting so low. Like magically, if we had a surplus last week of 7.9, did we use that much, oil this week that we were able to bring it back down to the 1.5? I have no idea. So totally confused. No idea. But again, oil is tomorrow. There's been some great trades on that one. Remember, when James gives out advice, make sure that it's inside man number 3 that we get the data from. Inside man number 1 and number 2, they don't know anything. But inside guy number 3, he's got the secret sauce. Okay, so make sure you guys watch out for that. James will break that down for us in Discord and give that out to us. Like I said, that man has been absolutely insane with those oil binaries. Nadex is pretty soon going to ban Jane from trading those because they're doing nothing but losing money. So we will see. And then 9:45 tomorrow night, we have the BOC speaking, which is crazy, right? 9:45 at night, the Bank of Canada. But again, West Coast, maybe they're Pacificers. I don't know. Maybe. Who knows? Hold on, James just wrote a book in Discord. Oh, there we go. Has estimated. So James just posted that the American Petroleum Institute has estimated a crude oil inventory draw of 500,000 barrels for this week, compared to analyst expectations of 1.6. The reason you're seeing CL moving higher tonight. So, with that being said, to me that sounds like they've leaked that news that it's rallying higher, so big money could be selling it tomorrow morning. Maybe, I don't know. Could be, right? Maybe, right? Because if the price rallies tonight because they read that report, that means whoever sells it can sell it for a higher price than what they need to buy it back for tomorrow morning, right? Eh? Eh? See how that could potentially work there? Yeah? All right. So that's what we got going on tomorrow. Looking over at the news too, again, you guys can see that was European news, Aussie news. Again, you're seeing a little bit, talking about Powell. The U.S. trade talks hit a snag over a farm purchase. Yeah, whatever, and not real. I think this one too. Paul Tudor Jones. He's an explosive combination of forces driving the U.S. market higher. I too am not as smart as Paul Tudor Jones, but I too see those same type of factors. I mean, you have super low interest rates. You have a president that literally can just sign a deal with a trade war that has had everybody being negative about the market. So obviously it's going to get signed. Why would it not explode higher? I don't know. But you heard it here first. We have an explosive combination of monetary and fiscal policy right now. Yes, I agree. All right. Besides that, not too much on the news front. Like I said, I didn't watch any of the impeachment stuff today. I saw people posting it, and then I didn't see people posting it, so I'm assuming nothing actually came from anything that happened today. Um, I don't know. I didn't see anything. I think I think that had to be a little bit of a dampener on the market, trying to figure out what's going to go on with that, but I didn't hear anything from it. So again, we're not going to deal with that. All right. So that's what we have looking for tomorrow. Bunch of news releases early. Like I said, we have basically three good ones. Actually, I mean, even this, if you're awake, again, I know you West Coasters, you guys could trade this one. James could trade this one because he'll be up at 2 a.m. But 2 a.m., 4:30, 8:30, 10, and then 11. So a lot of stuff in the morning, and then by noon we were done for the day, basically. All right, jumping down into the scanner. All right, so as Wealth Builder mentioned, he was like, holy crap, everything was down and it continued to drop like 90 pips. Yes. So basically, guys, all that the scanner is doing is it is breaking down the definition of trend inside of the Forex Masterclass. It's just putting it into one kind of easy to read kind of format. Again, yes, it works well because again, it is identifying trends, and every time you see a check, yes, it's confirmed that it is trending in that direction. Okay, sometimes yes, you will see three across, and basically what that means is just across the board that's trending down. Eventually, though, what happens? Like you guys know the saying, right? The trend is your friend until what? The bend at the end. So just because you see three straight across, make sure that there's no obstacles, no no alligator pits in the way, right? Because eventually it will stop. Okay. Remember, you don't want to be buying at the top of a rally, and you don't want to be selling at the bottom of a collapse. Okay, so just keep that in mind. Okay, the goal is to catch it on a pullback and make sure you have room to run for a profit target. Okay, it's not just a red light, green light type, scanner. But with that being said, looking over across at the majors, okay, we do have an uptrend set up in both New Zealand's, the daily and the 4-hour, and again, kind of sideways up, upward biased in the 1-hour. CAD, a little bit mixed. Again, we have sideways up confirmed. Sideways up is not quite as high yet. And then you're starting to see a little bit of a pullback, right? Sideways down. Again, consolidation at the end of the day, so not necessarily surprised in that one. And now it's just showing a downtrend. Dollar yen, sideways down confirmed, but then we're getting an uptrend on the lower. So it looks like this one is getting to the point where once it starts to pull back, this one is going to change. And it looks like we're starting to get a little bit of movement there. Aussie dollar, okay? Anchor break to the downside, meaning it's a short signal, and you're seeing that on the 4-hour, and you're seeing a little bit of a pullback in the 1-hour, so we'll look at that one. Again, a lot of that has to do with the news that came out, right? The news that came out right here, the unemployment data, okay? And I'll show you those. I'll show you what that looks like. So that one, again, scanner-wise, just be cautious of it, not necessarily surprised. It actually lined up pretty close to what we talked about before, about breaking through. That was a Harry Potter setup for tonight. Euro dollar, pound dollar, very similar, right? Sideways up confirmed, sideways down, and both of those are anchor broken. So again, basically nothing but straight down. Going into the morning again, too, that will be interesting. Like I said, GDP number was, considered not great, but again, I'm sorry, not GDP, CPI. But then tomorrow morning, again, we could definitely have some more euro weakness. It's already picked, and once they confirm that it's weak, that can continue to push lower. Okay. Rest in peace, Santa chips are nice. All right, looking at the Euro basket. So the Euro basket's pretty interesting looking right now. Again, obviously Euro is always in the first, and you'll see that it's pretty mixed. Against the Swiss and the pound and the New Zealand, it is definitely pulling back a little bit. Again, the New Zealand is pulling back also on the 4-hour, and you're seeing kind of mixed signals on the lower time frames. Euro again obviously has been heading down, and then we're in a little bit of a pullback phase right now. So it'll be interesting to see if this can go like a little bit higher and then start giving us a setup over here. But again, whenever you start seeing the lower time frame conflicting with the other two, you're either again looking for that pullback, or again it's starting the pullback, or the trend is starting to change. Okay, Euro also kind of the same thing. Euro CAD again, not the biggest pair, but Euro Swiss, you'll see that we kind of definitely conflicting, right? Uptrend setup, meaning it's going down, and then you have downtrend setup here. So if you see some type of again price is pulling up here, there you go. It just changed. It just pulled back a little bit. Okay, so we'll see if what we have going on there. Looking at the pound basket, so obviously the pound basket, for the most part, it is negative. Again, the CPI data was not the best. Basically, just means that they're not going to raise interest rates, but I think it was just a little bit too beat up. I don't think these are all necessarily justified. You're seeing downtrend set up on the Swiss as well as the New Zealand, and again, you're seeing the Swiss and New Zealand over here as well. So there's obviously some extraneous factors from the euro and the pound. Probably this is we'll look at the pound dollar when it comes around on the charts. The sideways down, and then anchor bread. This is basically just all showing down, right? This is just showing pound weakness right now. And it's nice to say, it's nice to look at too, because when we look at the top over here, you say, oh, it's all this dollar strength. And it's like, well, it's not really dollar strength, because if you look here, pretty much all the pound pairs down, pretty much all the euro pairs are down. So is it dollar strength that's causing these two, or is it euro and pound weakness? Okay. And then when you go across to the euro pound currency pair, you see that it's a -2. So it's not really doing a whole lot. It's giving you the kind of conflicting signal. So interesting. So the Aussie basket's going to be totally kind of strange right now. And again, the reason why that one is weird, obviously because we just had news. So that one's pushing down. I'll show you that inside of 3 of the pairs there. I believe there was some movement in that one last night that Ernest was looking at. So again, I'm not going to cover too much time on that one. Then looking at the CAD basket, kind of the last major basket that we have. More or less the same. Again, a lot of sideways, a lot of confirmations with the CAD, with the dollar, same thing. This one could be looking for, any type of pullback down is going to be giving us an uptrend setup. Okay, and again, we're still coming off that larger time frame buying area on the daily. So we'll see what we can have. And again, the fact that the 1 hour is sideways down, I could potentially be looking at it. So this would be a pair that we should look at tonight. New Zealand CAD, I don't focus on that one typically. If you guys want to trade that one at home, you're more than welcome to. And then looking at the CAD yen, okay, the CAD yen sideways up confirmed, but you're sideways down confirmed, and you're seeing up and up. So this one appears that it's going to be going into a downtrend setup very soon. So we should definitely check that one out as well. All right. And again, the Aussie CAD over here is, I guess it's up here, but again, that's because of news. All right. So a couple interesting little setups here. And again, whenever I see the checks, definitely things I'm going to look at. Dollar CAD, dollar yen, Euro Aussie, we'll check that one out. And Euro yen, obviously, we look at. Euro dollar, we look at. Pound CAD, we typically don't look at. I don't even think I have that up on the scanner right now. But again, that's another one you guys could look at on your own. New Zealand CAD and CAD Swiss, you got a couple things as well. So there's probably 7 or 8 different setups that we should look at tonight. So we will dive into it. So if the daily has a downtrend set, the 4-hour sideways down trend confirmed, and the 1 hour is sideways uptrend, that's how you visualize the market pulling back. Hold on, I have to read it and see it. So we have daily's downtrend setup, meaning it's already pulling back. Red is sideways down confirmed, meaning it's not. Okay, typically you won't. It's typically hard to see a downtrend setup, and because that requires it to be pulling back, but then on the 4-hour see a downtrend confirmed, because that means it's breaking lower. And then the 1 hour sideways uptrend, that means you would have a pullback. But typically you're not going to see a 1 hour pullback on the daily. You would only see it on the 4-hour. That's why we use the 6-hour kind of multiplier. Hopefully that makes sense. If not, we will cover that tomorrow at 5. All right. So, all right, let's jump into charts. And again, if I didn't answer that, you're still confused, Vanessa, we'll cover it tomorrow. All right, so here we go with the Aussie yen. All right, so Aussie yen, we had the Harry Potter trade kind of picked out. We missed the very, very bottom side of the Harry Potter trade a little bit. We did have some white space, and what did it do? It pulled back into a level basing. Basically pulled back into a level basing a couple times. And again, this is that old area that we were in, and we talked about it. We talked about coming down. Like I said, we missed it by just a little bit, and it did pull back. The funny part is it pulled back right to where we thought it would pull back. So that was kind of cool. And again, it's on its way down. So actually, at this point, I expect it to probably retrace a little bit. We'll see if it has the ability to kind of push a little bit lower. Um, because it's the yen and there's not much going on tonight, we'll see. Like I said, it's right now it's sitting inside of a daily buying area. So we have daily demand. It does look like it broke just slightly below, but again, it does have a little tiny bit of a backstop over here. So we'll see what it's able to do. If it's able to push a little bit lower again, then it will looks like it will continue to go short. It did go off a legitimate area again. Like I said, it did pull back up into this area. It raised up right before the news, and then bam, right here it hit, and then just collapsed through the floor. So. Um, you know, it followed what it technically, on a technical basis, it was supposed to actually do. Um, didn't necessarily coincide with how we expected it to be with, using news to do it, but at the end of the day, it still did the same exact thing. So we'll see how far it's able to actually able to push down. Um, Based on off what we're looking at here, though, I don't know that I'm looking for a retracement yet. I would have liked it to bounce off something, and let's see, kind of a pretty sloppy area. If we can get down to here, okay, down here at what, 73.83, about 20 pips from where we are now, then I'd be looking for some type of a retracement entry. I like that a lot better. It's a 30-minute zone. I'm sure we could probably see it on a 4-hour as well. Yeah, it's the start of this zone right here. Okay. Yeah, it's the start. It just happened to draw on. It's the very, very top of this. So if we can get down to that zone, then yes, I'd be looking to take this and turn this back up again. But for right now, just kind of let it go. I mean, it may turn and flip here, but nice little supply area has already been created on the top side. Okay, this is a good trade setup if you guys are able to grab it. New Zealand, basically the same thing. Okay, it pulled back up again. This one a little bit harder. Didn't quite get as high, but you guys can see, again, that Harry Potter formation, that pushing through, coming up and retesting. You guys can see it here, and it came a lot lower here and then tried to pull back up again into this level. So you may or may not get in. This one was probably not as clean, but again, the same situation where we pulled down, we pulled right back up again, and then we continued to push through, and then obviously it came all the way down. It's not the best zone, but it's probably because of the pair. Kind of sitting in this level right now, so not horrible, but it's not really a super clean zone. But again, a lot of this has to do with the pair because it's literally chopping back and forth. It's not like a clean bit of a pullback push through. Let's see if we can get it better on the Aussie. Um, so this one obviously cleared the zone. Okay, so I'm definitely happy about that. So we've cleared there, and it looks like we are probably cleared down about another 20 to 30 pips at least. Um, but again, now we've pushed up, and again, a little wick over wick here. So, and we have a gap, obviously, because of the news. So, with that being said, definitely we'd be looking at some type of selling in this area. Again, because we have a gap situation there, and it goes off the level. So, um, profit wise, oh, it's not going to let me go back far enough. All right, let's do it over here. Um, Something along those lines. So, only 20. Oh, that was more than that. see what we have here. I'm trying to front run that position is what I'm trying to do. And again, it's because we have a gap right there. So yeah, so you're looking like a 4 for 20. I just don't know if like it's something like a, don't know if a shorter term one is going to work on that one. Oh, let me pull up Nadex real quick and check this one out. Let's see. Pull Nadex up. Take it right now is at 68.06. Great one. I think this one's going to run out of gas. Let's see, and that goes till 11. So we're going over here. Yeah, I don't know if we're gonna have enough time for that one. Let's see. So it looks like that's out. Let's look over back at binaries and see if there's a better binary on this one. Yeah, Ernest, I'm still lagging with Nadex. It's just like stuck in like, it's weird. Like I'm getting like the thinking symbol. Yeah. Crazy. All right. 68.05. Or something like that may not be bad. Basically, we need to blow what, 67.80, which would be, oh, it's down here. I don't think it'll make it that far. I think it'll turn and flip. I do like this 4-hour zone, so I'm not sure it's going to make it. So yeah, this may be a spot currency trade only, but again, with only 4 pips risk, not horrible. Okay, and then again, just my rationale with this one is maybe clear the cache. I don't know. I could potentially do that. Rationale on this one is because we had the gap and it was off the turning point. The idea is let's front run this one before we get back up into the zone. So it's a better risk to reward ratio if I do use the blue area, because again, that was the prior level we're bouncing off of. But you can see it came, it turned, and then obviously it gapped out of there, meaning that there was a huge imbalance in price. Since again, this one closed and this one opened when news came out, and there was a gap between the two. So the goal is like front running on this one, more so than anything else. And again, if we do use 4.4 and 21, it is more than a 3-to-1 risk reward ratio, so it's not really a horrible trade. But again, like I said, it's you want to make sure that we, I don't think a binary in this one is not going to be the best, just because it again, I don't see too much more movement tonight. I think it'll be slow and grindy if anything else. It may actually take into tomorrow morning before this one goes. Okay, we'll see. Look at pound Aussie. Let's jump across. All right, so pound Aussie obviously had this nice little bounce. Okay, one of the things we're talking about in this one is we're waiting for price to come back up into these two gold marked off. I think, and here is off this area right here. Okay, so looking for that area again, and we're talking about 189.20 to 189.45 ish. We'll be looking for some type of a short in this position. Didn't quite. It'd be nice if it literally burst all the way up there, but it got stuck about halfway through. So with that being said, again, we had this area that was a profit target. Again, I'd move that up. Next time we're looking for a profit target, this level here at 188.05 is what our profit target would be to the downside. So big question is going to be, is this going to be turning and flipping now? Um, like I said, I wish we got back up here, much better entry than down here. At this point, you'd have to drop it down probably like a 5 or 10 minute and see if we've gotten any type of confirmation. And in a lower time frame, we got a little bit of a one here. Again, it's pushed lower, and then kind of just obviously it just popped a little while ago, and it's pulling back down again. So, there's a potential. You could probably take something small if you wanted to. It's about 50 pips back to the downside on this one. Fortunately, the risk on it's going to be quite high. It was much better over here. Um, Pop that up. Wish this pop wasn't as big. If this pop would have stayed under, it wouldn't have been a bad trade to the downside. But again, you could take a continuation pattern to off a box like this. And again, if we do have the bounce below, if we have any type of movement below here, you could take it, back down to that level. Okay. That's the best one we got for this one. Looking at Euro pound, I think Euro pound will provide us with good opportunity tomorrow. Just because, again, with German data and then obviously the data behind it, you guys can see it's grinding. I mean, again, sideways movement. We had that pop, and then you can see two very, very small days back and forth. It literally spiked up, came back down again, went back up, and is still stuck right at the lows down here at 85.66. You can see on the 30-minute, I mean, really since what, 11 o'clock this morning, it really hasn't done anything. We had this one kind of spike back in, and we talked about this, but it's just going sideways. So we're getting super, super close. And again, every time I keep saying that, when we come down, it pops back up again. So if you're smart, you'll just take it long because I keep telling you it's getting close. But again, we're getting very, very close to this 85.50 area. Okay, and again, this is a buying zone for us down here. I think tomorrow, let's see, we are only right now only about 15 pips. The German news can definitely drive us into that zone, but I think that's definitely an interesting area to be set up in, depending on what the news is in the morning. I would definitely mark that area off. With bad UK data though, that will be a great. And again, obviously bad UK data. If we can have the bad German data drive us into the zone, then it's perfectly set up for disappointing pound data, which would do what? It would send us straight back up again. So I mean, again, this is bad data for the euro, and then this is bad data for the pound. Okay, is kind of what we're looking for. All right. Besides that, because we're kind of sitting in the middle, there's really not a whole lot there. Looking to the top side of things, again, this is a big zone. This is an old zone back from over here that we kind of breached through. So at this point, again, we've already kind of pulled down. We've already pulled up and touched it, and it's kind of moving around. So if anything, I would move this up and start kind of positioning it over here. Okay. This is the last time we had really kind of strong movement off of a level. Again, it kind of popped up, went sideways, little wick over wick, and then boom, boom. Two big candles down. And the last time price got up here, again, it made a valid attempt, but it got turned around and forced back down again. So depending on what the data is, I would say that this is probably my top side and bottom side of this one would be here to here. Okay. Now, again, you can potentially take a long here, short here. And if we do breach through this zone, look for a continuation down to this next level down here. Okay. This could be the next big area. And this area is down at 85.10, well, 85.11 to 85.90. So again, a little 20 pip zone down here. 85 would be an interesting number. Okay, it's a nice round number. It's got a 5 and 2 zeros in it. Be interesting to start flirting around with that one. But I don't really see a whole lot much past this level. Looking back up to the daily, I mean, it spent so much time in this kind of just sideways piece here. I mean, really, there's not a whole lot clean. It's been, again, this has been a very strong level, right? I mean, it's been a lot of time right here at this 86.40 range. As far as what's clean, I mean, there's a little piece right here, but I mean, really the wick over wick is the best thing up here at 88, and that's quite a majority. I mean, it's 300 pips away. Nothing that's coming out tomorrow, unless if Brexit happens, is going to move it that much in a single day. So that's all I think. I think we only got small movement on this one. I think we could have some good pops back and forth, at least on the 4-hour. But besides that, I mean, that's really all I have drawn right now on this too, is this bottom and top side for any type of a spike into them. Looking at euro yen. So euro yen. We talked about this last night. We said that, again, we stayed over here on the 30-minute, you don't see anything, but I mentioned that last night, and we said, hey, listen, got this wick over wick right here, right? And here's our 19. There's the 19 candle right here. And we said, hey, if it gets just a little higher up, right? As you guys can see, here's the 21. And we can go back, and the 21 was right here. Okay. We said we're close. If we can just go a little bit higher, not a bad entry. Take the short based off of what we see here. It was pulling back, right? Again, we weren't able to see it here. Actually, you may have been able to see it here slightly. Maybe not. But again, you guys were able to see it here. Okay, we had that downtrend setup situation. Okay, dropped the lower time frame. We knew that the level was there. Came up, retested 7.5 risk. Came all the way down, and what did we do? We based it off of there. Easier to see on this 30-minute. Oh, actually, I'm sorry. It's easy. This was drawn off the daily. Okay. You guys can see on the daily, we went right above the wick, right behind the green candle, which also happened to coincide with the red body here. And where did it do for us? That was the bottom. Okay. So great little trade setup if you were able to take this one last night. This was you could have taken this in either one, in forex or in Nadex. Both of them were great little trade setups. And again, all this was with this is the forex master course, right? Waiting for a pullback in a downtrend setup or in a downtrend. Lowered it, got good risk on it. And again, it was drawn on the 4-hour, but even on the lower time frame, it was fine. It met the requirements of being, in that 10-ish range. It was a little bit lower. And again, it had room to run. Okay, looking at on the daily, we were kind of in a more or less a racetrack. It had just been kind of going straight up at that point, and the last time we saw basing was behind this area, and that literally acted as the bottom today. It price pierced below it by a few pips, 2 or 3 times, and that was it. And then it just kind of flatlined there. So that was one from last night that we could have definitely taken. What is James posting? Oh, James is already starting to make money on oil. Telling you they're gonna like ban him from oil because he makes too much money before the news is even out. Where'd you get in there, James? You bought it? Got in at 30, got out at 60. A little double action there. It's not too bad. Nice little 300 or 270 bucks. Does it say how long you're in it? You're in it for like 3 hours. Not too bad. $100 an hour. Better than a plumber. All right, so where we are now. Again, we are sitting on this area, so I'm going to be cautious to go short at this point. Again, it pulled back to grab some more orders. It is making a valid attempt to push down right now, but it's in the area where the buyer stepped in. And again, on the daily, you can kind of see where they're stepping in at, right? A little bit harder here. I mean, technically speaking, on this one, we don't really have anything clean till this level down here at 119, 119.05, right? Is kind of the next time we see any kind of kind of hiccups. But again, on the daily, we knew that there was orders back here. And again, this wick formation is not my favorite. I prefer when it goes the other direction. This is these descending on the top side. Not really the best. So we could definitely, we could potentially run down if we're able to actually clear this zone right now. What I'd like to see again, I like this pullback. I think this is a great pullback right here. It's very clean. It was one candle up straight across and then went straight back down again. So if we can start building to the downside, this would definitely be a nice little area that we can set up here, at least on the 4-hour of a potential shorting area, right? We could use this as our potential short. Okay, nice pullback, nice clean pullback, and again, starting to get some nice movement out of it. So, not bad, right? Like I said, push through, then use this as a pullback level as a nice little way to play this one. Okay, looking at euro dollar. So, euro dollar is kind of like, as I mentioned before, kind of stuck, right? So we've had these kind of zones that were formed on the 4-hour, and on the daily we use them to kind of craft them over there. And you can see we keep hitting, went all the way through, all the way through, all the way through. This one pushed up and then pushed right back down again. So it's still having an issue eating these areas up. It's definitely making it a valid attempt to push down again to kind of hit these lows. We'll see if it can get there. It already looks like it's starting to stall, but oh, excuse me. What's interesting about this too is if this continues to push down, this is starting to signify to me that the market is expecting bad news in the morning. And here's why. This is already showing dollar strength coming into the market. So it's already starting to move where they would expect it to go to early. What I'm looking for in this one is a nice clean area to take some type of a pullback. Unfortunately, this is so much junk in here that it's going to be a little bit difficult to be able to get something that's like super, super clean on the pop. We had that one little level marked off up here, but unfortunately, that's a bit far, right? We're talking about, it's 40 pips. I guess it's not as far as I thought it was. Again, on a spike tomorrow with bad news, that's a potential, a potential area for a flip. If we get something along the lines that like comes up into here on news, then we can potentially take that back down. Okay, if we get it. Okay, like I said, it'll be 40 pips is fine for that spike, and that can happen with the German news or it can happen with the U.S. news tomorrow morning. To the downside, a little bit more difficult, right? Because when we're looking over here on the downside, I mean, we got, kind of a pullback here, although it's not the best rated, but you have a wick here, you have a wick here right above this red, so we're kind of in no man's land up there. We had a little bit of basing right here, down here at 109.65, so between 109.80 and 109 kind of 50, there's a lot of junk, okay? A lot of stuff going on. And then it starts to get a little bit cleaner over here because it's really untested area. Again, we have this testing over here at 109.50, which again, not surprising. So, I mean, at this point, I think we flatline overnight until we get the news in the morning. And like I said, I think if we get a pop up in here, if it's surprising data, if we can get a 40 pip pop up, I'd be willing to take it short off of this zone. Okay. And again, that zone is approximately 110.45 to 110.54. So about 9 pips. Okay, so not a bad little, not a bad little kind of takeoff area, something along those lines. Okay. All right, so that's kind of what I'm looking for news tomorrow morning. Euro Aussie. Yeah, it's fuzzy wicks. Yeah, there's just so much indecision about that pair. It's like, eh. All right, so Euro Aussie. Gave us the pop. Okay, this one didn't quite stop. It's continuing to push higher. And this is what happens when you have a zone so close. You tend to get pushes above that. So again, we had this zone here, and again, this one got broken. We had 1 here, 2 here, 3 here, 4 here. 5 finally broke through the top, and then it just kept going in and out of it like it was nothing, and it was gone. And again, it was. We got a nice pop to the top side, and it's rallying higher. So the pop went just past this kind of zone here, so you may not have taken that. And this is what we're dealing with now. You guys see this very thin black line? Okay, looking to the left, we're dealing with this pop, and then we step into where this dotted line is, where we've seen price really be respected, and it's had an issue with it. So we could look at this and potentially say, okay, anywhere from here to basically there is a potential shorting area, right? But your stop is going to be, above, right? This little 10, like 12 pip zone right above. So, you can see that's where we're earning right now. Again, if there's a Nadex based pair with the news in the morning, this would definitely be something I'd be interested in taking. In spot currency, I may want to see and wait for a confirmation on a lower time frame, see if I can get one if I'm still awake at that time. But Euro is lining up for kind of bad news. Like it's already picked to be bad. So again, this is Euro strength. Well, I'll see weakness. But if we get that Euro weakness, again, that's what's going to potentially take us from here in this level back down into this level. And again, the target to the downside on this one would be 161.10. Okay. And again, that would be based off of news. Actually, I guess the news wouldn't happen until there. Okay. Something along those lines. And again, that's if we have a news miss. And again, if it goes and is confirmed and, it's basically negative for the pound. I'm sorry, negative for Germany, which would be negative for the euro. Okay. Also move during charts. Yep. Yep. Is it still dropping? Amazing how long they last with the Aussie. Pound yen. So still basically sideways, still basically stuck inside of the same channel. Again, here's that rock on the hard place. Here's where we are right now at 2130. And you guys can go back and 2130 is here. So all we did was really continue to push all the way down to the bottom and bounce around. Now, the nice thing is it didn't travel all the way back up again. So maybe this is finally going to be the break that we need. And again, it broke it here, broke it here, broke it here, and kind of went through. So maybe we're good now. Maybe now is when we're finally going to be able to break through this level and make a good push. Um, that one fibs. No. Get dirty tool off here. So you guys can see there was the lower level. So this was that first one, and this was the one right below it. So you can see here 1, 2, 3, 4. So again, we could potentially be breaking to the downside. So that's going to open up some opportunities if we're able to get this, and that would make sense. Again, with the pound news tomorrow, we have retail sales. It's expected to be point 0.2, which was expected to be good. If that number comes in and it misses that number, that's where this pound weakness is going to kind of kick us, right? Which again, completely coincides with this one. So potential way to play this one. Okay, we got the area here. Okay, look for, again, this is for bad news. If it's not bad news, it's probably not going to happen. But if we look for a push down here, retrace down. Now, unfortunately, with news, if it just kind of floats around, it could just be a single candle pretty far down. Then we'd be a little bit, then we could be potentially looking for somewhat of an overnight, or I'm sorry, a retracement. Okay. The other thing is, if we do get a spike to the top side, I'd probably look to this zone on the 4-hour, because last time we were there, we had some nice movement. Okay. So it's not quite all the way up, but that was a nice zone on the 4-hour. If you don't like it because you want to stay a little bit more conservative, this top area isn't bad either. Let's see, what's the distance here? That's 50. That's about how far it was going to spike. That's about 80. I don't know if it's going to make an 80 pip spike. If you're playing the post reaction, then yeah, you could potentially get into either, I guess. If it is bigger than what's expected. You have a spike up top. Okay. Again, spikes through to here. Then once it's stopped and you get a bit of a confirmation, then you take a short. Vice versa, same thing here. If it's only able to go up. Those are two not bad zones, at least on the 30-minute, based off of, again, you guys can see them up here on the 4-hour. Nice little basing. This very strong. I mean, very, very nice, candle out of this area. And you guys can see this one has had major problems up here as well. Okay. The Chinese news came out. Chinese news was at 9. It was like 48 minutes ago, right? Yeah, the industrial production number. All right. Yeah, and that's probably what continued the Chinese news. Ernest, I'm assuming you're responding back to James's thing about on Discord, maybe. I don't know. Maybe you are, maybe you're not. But yeah, basically, the industrial production being down is also what's giving the Aussie weakness because, again, they are an export country that sells a lot of stuff to China. Yeah. Yep. Okay. All right. So that's what I'd be looking for in this one. Look for some spikes and play some retracements on that one. Like I say, it's not really trending, so it's kind of hard to do much with that one. Looking at the pound dollar. Right. I mean, we talked about here is the bottom zone, and again, I'll extend this across area right there, right? Here's where we are now. Here's where we were last night. So not really much. Went back, dipped in, came up, dipped in again, came over. So still kind of sideways. Right, again, we were downtrend setup, but we weren't taking a setup until we got back up in this zone. It's not there. So again, I'm not going to force it. All right. Look at New Zealand dollar. Again, New Zealand was the big mover last night. Okay. And again, what did we do? We pulled all the way up and kind of retraced. And again, it gave us another entry. And it looks like now it's finally starting to kind of put in some new levels to the downside. It was never really able to make anything clean. We did have a pullback, red, green, red here, and then immediately kind of turned back and kind of based. And again, with an entry up here, you really would have taken no heat in this position whatsoever. It's down about 20 pips right now. But now at least it's finally given us a clean, something clean. Like this was a pretty far pullback. This is much nicer. This red sideways and then push red, push down to the bottom. Now, it is in a little area of buyers here, but again, we could potentially be looking for an overnight. Now, U.S. news tomorrow, if it is good, that absolutely, without a doubt, can give us kind of the push to the downside. Okay. I wouldn't be surprised. The news tomorrow, the CPI news is at 8:30. Powell speaking at 9:30. He can absolutely mention what the CPI number is and talk about CPI. Actually, hold on. That's today. Tomorrow. Sorry, it's PPI tomorrow. If the PPI supports it at 8:30, at 10 he can definitely mention it. And again, that could give us some type of clue of we are done cutting rates and like kind of put a stamp on that one. And we'll look at, when we could potentially be raising them. Um, Part of the reason why I think that will be added in if the data supports it tomorrow is because of the president's comments today about how, each of the markets is up, 50, 60, 45%, and it could have been three times that if the Fed was, doing what I told them to do. I'm pretty sure he's going to be like, yep, we're raising rates now. That's what happens when you poke a bear. And again, market's good. There's no, inflation hasn't, crept up. It's kind of like, I mean, we're at all-time highs. It's kind of hard to say that the market wouldn't be able to handle us raising rates a little bit. Um, as well as, again, all-time highs, market looks good. All the numbers are supporting it. And we still have a trade war with tariffs on. So when those tariffs are gone, do we think it's going to get worse? No. So, um, you've been in this one since last night. Yeah, I mean, it's been slow. It's been boring. I mean, it's still there. But that's what happens. And again, that's one of the advantages that spot currency has over Nadex, right? Is you don't have the expiration. If you were in this with Nadex, you probably would have gotten stopped out with, you know, just by the expiration, you know? So again, that's why it's not a bad one to take. All right, so continuing to go to the dollar Swiss. Now, dollar Swiss moved today. Ernest, you I think put one up with this one. Again, not a pair that I was able to look at today. Okay, so you guys can see. You probably traded off this zone, I'm assuming. This pullback. And again, this was a breakthrough, retest, drop, and then again has rallied since. But um, again, things you had to be cautious with on this one. Again, on the 4-hour, you had to be expecting that price was going to bounce off that level. So again, wasn't a ton of room in there, but you could have expected it to come to the downside. This was kind of a continuation move of before. Again, I would have had a target down here, most likely to take myself out. And then again, if we went through, you were able to get into this one to the downside for a little bit more. We're not quite all the way to the bottom. Again, I just drew that blue line. That blue line is based off of here. I'll make it a little bit better. We'll do it here. Right there. Okay. There, so you can't see it on the upper line. But again, we're still talking about this rock in the hard place, this channeling, right? We started here, we went up. Actually, we started here, went down, went up, went down, went up, and we're still continuing the process to the downside. And that eventual profit area is going to come in over here at 98.59. And you guys can see it over here. How close we were to it. Technically speaking, we are in what? A downtrend setup on the 4-hour. We're looking for another decent level down here. Again, I'm going to leave that blue line there, but what I'll do is I'll kind of put another line here. If you're looking to get short in this position, you can always take a short off of that. And again, that coincides with the 6-time multiplier from the 4-hour down here to the 30-minute. Is it a bad trade? It's not horrible, right? We have, let's see, to take this to the downside, you got about 50 pips. So again, not a horrible area. Right? If you're able to be in that position or you're in it now, okay, that's kind of what you're looking for. And again, got pretty close here. You may have ended it on here and then just been in the position. But again, yeah, downtrend setup from here. I don't know if I'd have used this wick or not. Maybe. It's hard to use this one when we're right here for this one. Not a bad profit target, but I would not be holding it past this level. With the risk in this, I mean, the risk of this is very small, even if you took it, you're talking about 9 pips, had you taken it here. Had aggressive and taken it off of this kind of flip here, same thing. It would have been about 6 pips if you would have taken that one, and still about 45 in the other direction. So risk to reward makes sense on either of those trades to take it to the downside. Again, this is dollar weakness. It's already pulled back, and there's obviously some areas of supply that you guys can see on the 4-hour, as well as in the 30-minute. Okay, so that's potential setup for tonight. Dollar CAD going into tomorrow. So dollar CAD still rallying. I mean, how about this daily level, right? I mean, this thing was like ding and all the way up. And I mentioned the goal in this one was to get back up to 133. Today didn't do it. You know, we got up to 133.70. We got within 30 pips and then pulled back. And now it is kind of, trying to establish itself forward. If we have the good US data tomorrow, then again, that could be what we need. We're only 30 pips away, so it's definitely within striking distance of that 133 number. Big psychological level to get back up there again. And you can see on the daily, that's the last time it was kind of going back and forth is where it shot to the downside. So this one definitely has the ability to have some big candles. Again, this is obviously turning very, very grindy, right? I mean, just no retraces, but just super, super, super grindy. On the 4 hour, it's a little bit healthier, right? I mean, you have the impulses and correction moves, although multiple color candles all throughout. Not my favorite one, and again, I think this is one of those ones that Nadex doesn't seem to like as far as currency pairs go. But again, if it gets a bit higher tomorrow morning, if we can get above the 133 and a nice spike based off of data, I would definitely be looking for somewhat of a retracement to the downside, depending on what level it spikes into. All right. Downside, there's not. I mean, there's a couple levels that aren't horrible down here. This one right here is not bad. The 130.82 area. Again, nice basing. It didn't explode out of the area, unfortunately. I prefer when it does that. This I think is a lot better to the downside, but it's a bit far as news go. You're talking about 120 pips, so that's probably not going to happen to the downside. I think the upside is probably a little bit easier. Trying to think if I would take this one again. Take this one for long, but if we get up top, I would use this as a target. A 10 pip risk. Yeah, I think I'd use it more as a target to the downside. And again, we did push above and then use that same level here. Okay. Don't super low. All right, so still moving in this one. Okay, I mentioned yesterday. I was a little bit cautious because we were down here where the back was, right? So we did push up higher and we went down to it and basically just stopped. There's a wick here and then there's a lower wick here. So there's a couple kind of sticking points to the downside. On the 30 minutes, kind of ran out of steam pretty quick. Again, one push here, pushed up, and again, it's kind of wedged inside of like this little box. All right, there's your box that you're kind of stuck in right now. So I feel like tomorrow morning, once we get the PPI data, that will give us a little bit of a kick one way or the other. I'd like to see this come down. I'm still looking for this level down here as a potential area for a turnaround. The 108.50 area. Again, it's about 75. It's about 25 pips from where we are right now. We're at 108.75 now. 108.50 is a psychological level. It is a wick over wick. Any spikes to the top side, though, again, the dollar right now is, I mean, pretty much everything is very whippy back and forth. There is a potential area here. I like this area better. I like that area better than I like this area. So if we're able to get a spike up because of news, or somewhat of a push overnight, that's about 40 pips. That's in the right kind of that's the right zone for some type of a bounce off of this level, right? This one, yeah, technically price left the area pretty high, but again, the wick got higher, the wick got higher, the wick got higher, and then kind of based and went down. I like this one better where it's a high wick and then it's a lower wick to the downside pushing. So do like that one better than I like this. For me, it's either up or down. I'm not going to take anything in this position. And again, it's sideways. It's showing us. Again, it halted. It slowed down because of this. So again, this was actually the original target based off of this entry here. Okay, had we come to the downside, that's what we had drawn there. Right? Had you done this, that would have been where your target area was. Okay. And again, you guys can see it. I said I like this one better than this one. What did this one do? It came back up and it grabbed an opportunity here, opportunity here. On the 4 hour, it's a lot easier to see than retest into that zone, continuation to the downside. And if it did pull back up, again, you were able to grab an entry. So it's a target, but and on a spike up, I would be looking for a target in the same exact area. We'll see if it has the ability to punch really much farther than that. But that's not a bad little kind of pop up and down piece. You're looking at, I mean, you're looking at 44 pips. So, I mean, obviously, if that thing spikes up, there's a potential 2-hour binary in there. You only need it to move, 12 pips in 2 hours. So it's not a whole lot that you got to worry about. All right. Oh, we have a tier 1 sub from Vanessa. Thank you very much. You guys are getting all kinds of stars. I got to change those things too, by the way. Maybe I'll try to do that tomorrow so it doesn't say first. Change it to actual icons. All right. So last but not least, let's get CAD yen just because of oil tomorrow. All right. So it really just rode down to that area, like we mentioned before. We drew it last night talking about kind of two areas that it could be, right? And it did. It stuck. Um, it had this level of basing here, popped here, popped here, popped here, and finally broke through. And it rallied, not rallied, but it collapsed into this level of buying. And again, here's the kind of what we're worried about, this green area. Didn't breach it, right? I mean, here we are now, and then last night it. So we went down again. I think the problem with this one last night is this area was not that far apart. Yeah, we're only talking about 29, 30 pips, so wasn't even like really a full mover. Um, I would still use this area if we can get price to pop into there. Again, it did base at that same level and then kind of push out of it. But again, if we do push up, remember it's only about 30 pips to the downside. So this is not going to be a big mover one way or the other, top or bottom tomorrow. And actually, at this point, I feel like they are due. I feel like they are due to finally hit one, even though I think their averages are completely, totally off. All right. So with that being said, I will bring, let me see, let me open the original up. This is not my analysis. Obviously, this is a lot busier than what I have. But what I will say is this is what Jack said about this. I asked Jack, I said, Jack, you trade a lot of oil. I've done my oil assessment. We've done pretty well with it. But I'd love to, have you come in and give some fibs. I know you guys love fibs. It's like, special secret rock candy for you guys. It's, you guys are way smarter than I am. But again, this is Jack's assessment of there, and I just wanted to make sure that you guys saw this. When I bring it in, not that I don't think I can make this any bigger. No, it's not going to make it any bigger. Oh well. But what Jack is saying is this is what I have in oil to the upside. Um, Upside breakout 58.32 to 58.86. Target needs to stay above 56.90 or the current sequence, or we'll fall to a low value of 56.30. So that's kind of where he's got us bounce back and forth to the downside here. Yeah, I think you guys can see that a little bit better. All right. So there you go, Fib guys. Again, I'm going to try to see if I can get Jack on next week to kind of do a live analysis for you guys with Fibs. Like I said, Fibs is one of those things that it's always great when Jack and I get together and we talk charts because he'll do these draws, the same anchors and new highs and things back and forth again, and obviously his, halfway backs and 50s and things. And it's always great because typically it matches up with levels of, supply and demand for me as well. So it's always great how there's two different approaches to this. And again, is it psychologically happening because it's supply and demand, or is it psychologically like, it's kind of like what comes first, the chicken or the egg? But it's great to see other people's analysis, especially when you have the areas kind of match back and forth again. So, um, again, those are Jack's assessments for tomorrow for the Fib guys. Don't use this as what I would use this as is if you're drawing fibs, see if your fibs match up with where he drew it. And like I said, next week if you have questions for him, Jack is an awesome guy. He's always willing to kind of give you guys some feedback and stuff. And if you have questions, and like I said, he'll be on the stream. He'll be able to watch it and respond back to questions and things. So I'm trying to get him on for next Tuesday night so he can do the assessment before the oil numbers next week. But again, like I said, he posted this in the score. Just wanted to show you guys. Again, Jack is a fib-based trader, not a supply and demand trader, and this is what his draws were for the night. So, when those two different approaches meet his awesome level, yeah, it's awesome. I really enjoy it. Like I said, it's always fun talking with Jack. And I'm like, well, I got a level here. And I'm like, what do you got over there? And I'd be like, well, I got this one here. I was like, well, I got that one, but I'm just a little bit lower or a little bit higher. Um, and again, that was Jack's analysis. And if we go across, oh, look, Bitcoin is down again. All right. I was just looking for more view. Commodities. Oh, US crude. What is this? We used to get free charts. Now where is it? No. I hate TradeView. Man, really? Ooh. Wait, hold on, maybe here. There we go. All right, I was gonna be mad. I was disliking that. All right, so here would be my assessment on there. Okay, Jack gave you his with fibs and everything, with that kind of voodoo stuff. So this is what I'm looking at still. Again, level in here. Again, this is on the daily. So if I'm looking to the downside, probably the same thing that we've talked about before. Again, that target is down here at 52, so it's definitely on the lower side. I see a little bit of a speed bump here, but let me drop it down and let's look at some 4 hours on this one. Watching a bad pop off this area here. Okay, now there's a little hidden area right there. So check that little hidden area. Here, I'll mark off the bottom side first. Okay, we have this there. Let's change this and go to this little hidden little zone right there. Okay, so that's kind of another little interesting piece right there. All right. Honestly, at this point, this is what I think. I mean, in looking at this chart, I mean, again, we're kind of wedged in. We've literally been channeling back and forth between these two. We're getting close to the top again. And if we come in at, I mean, again, this can definitely continue to grind up overnight based off of what James saw. All right. I mean, there's the hourly. I mean, look at this on hourly. You can see when we have a minor level here. All right. Besides blue, I already did blue. We'll do like a green. All right. We got one minor level there and one minor level there. So, I mean, looking at this right now, I would say that, I mean, I would have to say that I'm a little bit more short biased. Again, we're hitting minor level, another minor level, and a major, I mean, kind of minor, intermediate, major level for 3 different areas that it has to go through. And then we look to the downside. Yeah, there's a little bit in here, but none of this is super explosive. It's kind of a retrace back up again. So, I mean, I can see, price coming back down to this 57, or was it 56, 57, right? As a target. I mean, again, if we're getting short up here at 57.64, again, there's, what are we talking? $1.10 to the downside? When you're doing your homework. What does he say? 58.36. 58. Wait, hold on. Would you say 58.36? 58. Yeah, that's right here at the bottom of the level is 58.36. Right where I am right now is 58.36, which is the bottom of the purple on the daily. Oops. That's right here. And again, I could probably actually, hold on. I'd have to do it there. So 58.39 is what would be that area. And then, like I said, dropping it down to a 4 hour, it's where you're seeing this little area here, right? Where we came down, we based and went sideways. Descending wicks, we love descending wicks, and then price shot out of it. And then dropping it down to an hourly is what gave us those zones. And again, look at this, the hourly, I gotta be like, right? Again, approaching this to the top side, we did actually spike into this on the green already, and then we're kind of seeing it push back down again. So, interesting areas, and two approaches meet right at that 58, 30. He has 36, I have 39. As far as areas we'd be looking to sell. So, isn't that kind of interesting how that pops out? So we'll see how it turns out tomorrow. Hopefully we're both right. I would love if it went like right to like 57. I'm sorry, like 58.38, because that would give like 2 above his and 2 below mine, and it would just show you that you can have 2 strategies and they both can work. It just depends how you trade them. All right, so pretty cool stuff. Yeah, so I'll have to save this one and leave it up so we can kind of see how it works out. All right. All right, if you guys want to see that fib chart again, it is in the Discord channel with specifics about it. Like I said, Jack and I have tentatively kind of worked some details out, and if everything works out, I will have him on as a special guest, and like I said, I'll have him break down gold, oil, and some indices for you guys real quick, maybe take like 10, 15 minutes of time. And then if he has the time, maybe I'll keep him on and I'll do like a couple analysis of currencies, and I'll have him do the same analysis with fibs on the same currencies, and we'll see what we can have match up for next week. All right, should be fun. All right, so with that being said, let's go ahead and give our pip chips away, because like I said, I know you guys are fiends. I know you guys are, where is it? Where is it? Where is it? No, I know how you guys are about these pip chips. Jack's gonna be like, what the heck are pip chips? All right, so you guys have. I'll give you guys 1 minute because I know there's a delay for some people. So when it says 119, I'm going to head and close it down. Let's see, who do we got in here? Josh finally made it in. Ernest is in. Vanessa's after. Wealth Builder is last, it looks like. We'll see if anybody else is able to kind of sneak in there behind him. Pattern Trader got in there as well, too. And Keith came in first. So we'll see. If Wealth Builder wins, you guys are going to be fighting tomorrow to see who's last. Because that's how it works. Because that's how you guys roll. Not much about winning the pip chip. It's about not letting Ernest win. Yeah. It's basically it's getting like what's it called? It's getting like politics, right? I'm not going to vote for that guy, but I'm going to vote against the other guy. So at this point, it's not about winning pip chips. It's letting Ernest not get any more. All right, there we go. I'm shutting it down. And the winner is... Ooh! Oh, look at that. Wait, what did I just say? Didn't I just say something about, like, being the last one, and if that person wins, there's going to be like a brawl tomorrow? Look at that. And again, he upped his odds. He had an 18% chance of winning because he bought a second ticket right at the end, and bam, Ryan bought it. It's fixed. It's not fixed. It's called mentoring. He did mentoring. He understanding risk reward. He risked 10 to make 25. It's a good deal. Mark guys complete. Let me hook Ryan up. Ryan. Where is Ryan? There we go. Ryan was the first one to cash in on the pip chips. He was the first one. Where is it? I can do go to redemptions. You guys can see Ryan was the first one. Boop, right there. And Josh, I'm trying to set a time. I think I'm going to work with Sun. I think Josh is. I think I don't have a time set for Josh. Sean is going to be Sunday. I have to give him a time, and then I have to meet with Vanessa tomorrow at 5 p.m. I'm saying this out loud so I don't forget. Okay. I gave Vanessa an extra one. She actually did one of the, I guess when she got the 5-minute course, she took advantage of the special offer for the hour of mentoring. And we've done like over an hour, but we're going to do one more hour because I gave her some homework and I want to be able to follow up with homework. And I'm also going to go over the Sunday night gap strategy to arm her with something else. So always got to give her a little bit extra, get her out there. I want her, I'm shooting for her to be our first female funded trader. Because they say that women make better traders than men. So this way you guys all have something to shoot for when Vanessa is funded. And Ryan's like right there. Like Ryan can see the end. So Ryan, I think, is going to be our first forex funded trader. Carl's obviously our first futures funded trader. Carl decides like on a weekend, is like, you know what, I'm just going to get funded again, and he just does it. But again, you guys will get to that stage as well. So Ryan is so close. And again, Ryan took advantage of the mentoring, and Ryan has spoke highly of the mentoring. So let's make some millionaires. That works. I'm a blank canvas. You say that, but all right, guys. Quarter after 10. I will catch you guys tomorrow morning. I will not be up for the German GDP number or the retail sales. I am typically not up that early unless the baby's awake, and then I'm just so grumpy I don't want to deal with it at all. And I may be back for the PPI tomorrow. I got to pick the boys up at 9 so I can drop them off at school. But I'm picking them up from their mom at 8. So I may or may not be back by this time. Okay. But if not, I'll be around during the day. If you guys have any questions, you're more than welcome to bounce them off me. Also, guys, do me a favor. Go over the YouTube channel. make sure you do a subscribe over there. We need to make sure we get 100 people, and then they basically use our name, so the link is a lot easier to get to for everybody instead of just a bunch of numbers. But we need to get 100 people. So if you guys have, more than one account, go over there, do me a favor, get subscribed to it to help us get up to 100. It helps the channel out a ton over there as well. So I know I use Twitch more than YouTube, but YouTube is where our archives is. Twitch holds videos for 14 days. YouTube holds them forever. All right, so that is acting as our library. So please go over there and do a like and subscribe, and that will help me out a ton. All right, so I will catch you guys. Keith, thank you guys so much. Vic, thank you guys so much. I will catch you guys tomorrow.